When most people think of developing a brand identity, they often associate it with designer logos, sleek websites, and eye-catching marketing brochures and collateral. The more cynical amongst us might think of branding as an exercise in driving greater consumption to make us want things that we don't need or can't afford. But what if the power of branding could be used for the greater good? What if branding was about discovering our true fundamental values, about identifying what it is that we stand for and believe in?
Let's meet an inspiring woman who's founded a brand agency that's doing exactly that. Claire. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Thank you. I've noticed that your website's somewhat unconventional for a branding kind of marketing website, in that you don't often see websites that have poetry about unicorns or statements like, we feed our brains to feed our bellies. And I guess this kind of ties into this whole storytelling process that's a very important part of the way you develop a brand.
Well, I think that's the only way to get humans to genuinely connect with something, is to be authentic and communicate an authentic purpose. And to do that, I believe you need to find a way to their heart and soul, so a way to the brand's heart and soul. So, and I just really believe that people connect through stories. Everyone tells stories, everyone loves hearing stories, we're brought up with stories. It's just a really integral part of life. The first question we ever ask is, what is your purpose, or why do you exist? That's the most important thing, and often it's the hardest thing to answer. And I think that's why we attract so many social enterprises in terms of the types of people we work with, because they have a very core, true purpose.
Yep.
And usually a purpose that has come from a very innate moment of empathy with something,
Sure.
which is a very human thing to experience and feel. So it's sort of that moment of empathy that creates a real important purpose that can then be brought out through a
Sure.
story. And we just want to work with people doing this good stuff, which we kind of, as I explained earlier, it's good stuff to us is stuff that's got some sort of unselfish element to it. So
Yeah.
it could be anything, but
And there's a purpose beyond profit.
a purpose beyond profit of some sort.
Do you think of yourself as a disruptor? Like you're kind of, because I guess a lot of the ideas that you're advocating for would be quite confrontational, I guess, to conventional business strategy and brand development.
Yeah, that's develop a vulnerable brand isn't something people necessarily want to hear.
Yes,
but
or businesses talking about empathy.
Oh,
I guess often
absolutely.
it's about kind of decimating your competition.
Yeah, well, I guess it's disruptive. I have maybe been called that before, but I'm not doing it on purpose. I'm just doing it actually because I think that feels really right to explore this, the emotion in business, and and that's what helps humans connect, is when you are vulnerable and have the ability to empathise. So that's where the archetypal psychology comes in, which essentially is around using or aligning human characteristics with the brand to help them speak and connect with humans. So that's when I suddenly got excited about what I was doing and realised I could actually build a really interesting process around that. And really the only way to do that authentically and with the kind of depth that I wanted to do it was to create my own business. So I guess, in the end, if we can actually be working with a very different type of client in the future talking about these concepts, that would be amazing. But right now we sort of start with the people who get it, which is the social enterprises, the entrepreneurs, the people who've got this real human connection to what they're doing already. So,
And who genuinely believe in what it is that they do and what
that's
they
right.
stand for.
One day I'll take over the world with this right side of the brain thinking, but at the moment we're heading in the direction of sharing our knowledge through workshops and training as opposed to selling it just through project work.
Yeah,
So
sure. And so I guess a bit amorphous, but it sounds
Yes.
like you kind of thrive on that.
I do,
And it
yeah.
does sound like a pretty kind of bright and exciting future.
Yes.
And dare I say it, for anyone that has ever called you disruptive, I imagine you're the kind of person that takes that as a compliment. not
Yeah,
a
I
criticism.
do. Thank you
Claire?
very much for that.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Sid.
Meeting an amazing person like Claire has made me realise that there's so much more to this thing we call sustainability beyond recycling and reducing carbon emissions. It's also about genuine opportunities for social engagement and discourse, where we can win the hearts as well as minds of people. Stories are a way in which we pass knowledge from one generation to the next, and it's a way we inspire ourselves to do good and to be better, and hopefully will inspire our children and grandchildren to continue the journey towards a more sustainable future.